Welcome to the Coffee and Banana podcast, where we speak to entrepreneurs, thought leaders, executives, artists, and other cool people while grabbing a cup of coffee. In today's episode, we have the pleasure of speaking with Dave Worden, aka InstaDavew, whose extravagant sci-fi themed photography has been shared numerous times on TikTok and Instagram. Dave speaks on the technical aspects of each shoot, the collaborative effort while working with models, and why Vancouver is better than Winnipeg. But, he doesn't say it verbatim, but was that ever up for debate? All that and more in today's episode of Coffee and Banana.
You can get creative, I guess, in how you're designing the new system and stuff. So I always, like the creative aspect. That's my favorite part of it, is going in there and thinking, okay, how are we going to design this, make it fit in this space, and the before and after when you see like that's really junky old boiler room, and then afterwards you got it all beautiful looking and stuff. So I get some creative enjoyment out of that, but that's the reason I got into photography was years ago, was just more as a creative outlet, I guess. Just always my whole life I've always needed to be creating, I guess, seems. But like before photography, I liked landscaping. I did all my yard up and
would you take a picture of it afterwards?
Yeah, I'd do that. Or I was telling you about that game I used to play.
Second Life?
Yeah, so you'd create your own world there, right? Mm-hmm. So that was definitely a good creative outlet to
when you told me about this game, and I'm like, how come I've never heard of this game before? Because that's where, if you see,
I'm surprised you never heard of it.
I've never heard of it.
Fairly, I don't say it's huge or big, but
wait, you guys heard of the Second Life game? Second Life? Wait, gamers here, Ryan?
It's kind of old school.
It's not super old school.
I think it was more popular 10, 15 years ago even, right? But
I see. Well, the thing is, it's kind of like the world we live in now, because you sign up in this virtual space and then you could sell products, and it's on a different currency that you have to convert back to CAD or USD. And that exists now. Do you know what OpenSea is? We spoke about that last time. And NFTs.
Yeah, you know what? I never really looked into that. I actually have no clue what you're talking about. It sounds like
great.
A whole nother world, man.
No, 5 years from now, it's like TikTok. Yeah. 5 years ago, you're probably like, what the fuck is this shit? But now it's
like even a year and a half ago, I never heard of TikTok.
Yeah,
I'd never heard of it, and somebody told me about it, and that was the first time I heard of it. And
do you want to shout out the person who told you about it?
Stacy from Arizona. She's actually an old friend. We went to school with her.
Okay, cool.
But
Canadian?
Yeah, she's Canadian, but she lives in Arizona now.
Cool.
But yeah, she's the one who told me about TikTok, and I never, I thought, okay, I'll upload some videos and see what happens, right? But I didn't think I would have time for it. But I don't spend as much time on TikTok. I find it's a lot more just casual, just put a video up there, make the video kind of match to the music a bit.
Yes.
I'm not so, like with Instagram, I'm so obsessed with that. It's got to be perfect. But with TikTok, it's just like, put something out there. So I find it's easy to post on TikTok.
And like on TikTok, you have more of a following and you care less
TikTok
about
went nuts. Like the algorithm on TikTok's pretty crazy.
It's great.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm like such a TikTok advocate, because there's been a lot of people here, because we've interviewed a lot of musicians, and I'm telling them, bro, get on fucking TikTok.
Especially if you're a musician, I think, because music is so big on TikTok.
Even if you're playing violin part-time, right?
What's that?
Even if you're playing violin part-time, you never know. Somebody could be like, hey, I need that as a score for my commercial.
Yeah. Well, that's what the thing with TikTok is people are using music for their videos, right? So if you got a good song, and actually my stepsister, I guess it's friends of theirs. It's this super popular song on TikTok. It's this kid in Maple Ridge. He was like, I think he's 14 or 15 or maybe 16 now. I'm not sure. But anyways, he made this song. I could find you the song. I can't remember, and I'm not going to try to sing it on camera here.
Let's see.
But it's
give us the melody a little bit.
It's this song that just went viral on TikTok, right? So it had, millions of views and stuff. And yeah, he got super famous, from just uploading songs onto TikTok, right? So crazy. It's definitely a good thing for music artists.
I know a few people from BC. There's one kid from UBC. His name is, I think, Steven or something. I can't remember. I know his artist name. Baby No Mula. Have you heard of this artist?
No.
So anyways, he put out actually he became famous through China just by somebody uploading his music in some other platform, and then afterwards he just put out his songs. Like once you have that initial fan base, that helps a lot.
Yeah.
Because then he put out one of his songs that had a skit in the middle. You know how people just love doing skits or things like that, and it was at the beginning of his song, and that went viral to the point where it was literally everywhere. And I think it has almost 1 billion streams. Something crazy.
Crazy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool how people can, like, without having to have a huge management company or something, you just, you know, with social media these days, you can get your name out of there with, if you're lucky, I guess, and the algorithm hits or something, but you can get your name out there without having to, I guess, you know, sign up with a huge management company.
But in the sense,
like in the old days.
Like these social media platforms are now like your managers, because you have to focus on the algorithm and learn what the updates are. Because now these are entities that you have to like we talked about the social dilemma right before this, and the content that just keeps being fed to you after you click on something.
It's true, man. Like, or you could even just talk about something these days, and then it starts getting fed to you, like, you know, without even searching for it on your phone, right? It's a crazy world.
That really that bad? Because think about this. What if you needed certain products this week and you didn't even know you needed it?
Yeah, but sure, in that way. But there's also, what about all the products out there that you don't know you need, and you're not going to see because
the algorithm right now is so weak. But imagine if the algorithm in the future is so good that if I make a product that I'm just like, I know this will help people, I just write all the functionality for it. Google's like, I got you. We know who's going to like this. This demographic in Uruguay is going to love this. And they just keep on funneling to them.
Yeah, maybe. If the algorithm's weak now, though, I hate to see what's going to happen when it's better. It's the algorithm's this crazy machine that's learning and learning.
Constantly learning.
It's going to take over the world, man. It's crazy. I don't know.
I think I don't see, do you see the world in the sense of like, you know, like the machines are going to take over and we're all going to just like be slaves to them? Or do you see that we're going to like, there's going to be some sort of symbiosis? Like we're going to be like, hey, half man, half machine kind of thing.
I don't know, man. You're getting pretty out there now.
Am I?
I think it very well could be that the machines take over one day. Like, they're going to get smarter and smarter, and who knows, man? Like, it's not out of the question for sure. Let's put it that way.
Because if a machine was like really smart, would it be like, I'm going to take over the world? They would be like, they're so smart beyond the point of like, we don't need to take over. We already know that we're elite. Let's take care of these people so they don't ruin everything.
Well, and maybe that's what's happening already. It's, you know, it's influencing us in a way to make the machines smarter, and
for sure.
You know, they're already influencing us to help them take over the world.
Yeah, and we love it. We just like, oh my god, this is great. I got more likes on my TikTok video. All we know is like, but isn't that so great that whatever North America does, China's like, yo, we're gonna kill it. They saw what we're doing with social media and everything that we've done. I don't know if you know that there's a Chinese alternative. That
I guess,
do you know what WeChat is, by the way?
WeChat? No.
So WeChat is an Uber, and it's a WhatsApp, and it's a Tinder all combined into one, and it's a payment system like Apple Pay all into one app. So if I just go to a restaurant, I can use WeChat to pay you. There's also a blog section, so I can pay WeChat to post my articles, and it's a huge market on its own, depending on the topic. And then there's a function where I'm just shaking my phone, and then if other people are shaking their phone at the same time, it'll match me with them.
Why would they have a function?
It's just, it's like connecting with people.
Okay.
I know. Like it's kind of weird to me too, to be honest.
And are they tying that in with their social rating system there too? Or you know how?
Yeah, I heard about, I don't know too much about that part.
Well, I know that, and it's kind of like that Black Mirror show. I don't know if you ever watched that. But
I saw that episode.
I remember seeing that and thinking, wow, that's crazy. But then they're actually doing that in China, where they have like a social rating system where the better social rating you have, the more, like, let's say you want to go and rent a house or something, rent a place. They're going to look at your social ratings. You know, is he he nice when
Is
he
he a
goes
nice guy?
out? Yeah, is he a nice guy, or does he get bad ratings from other people who,
Yeah.
you know, like this guy's a jerk?
Does
you
he
know,
litter? Shit like
yeah,
that.
like or whatever, right? So, like I said, it's like the way the world's going, it's kind of a little crazy. I could see that happening here too. The social rating system thing, right?
Yeah, I can see it as a. I had an app idea. I said, wouldn't it be great if you had like a social rating system, but for a business, like something outside of Yelp. For instance, like if I'm bringing in a photographer and I'm working with a photographer, and the guy's really good, I want to say at that moment that, hey, he did this picture for me and he killed it. When it came to his like coaching me through this process, it's like 5 stars. And then now it says, Dave, where his ranking is based on his clients. And then those people, then I think at that point you'd feel like, you know what? I'm down to work with more people just to get, because when you're starting out, and a lot of musicians, a lot of creatives, they don't have probably the funds to pay you for your photo shoots. So that would be kind of a cool way for them to pay you back, to just say, let me give you 5 stars.
Yeah,
and then this social media app that's in the future for only photographers and only videographers, it's like, it's separated based on like career. And then they can say, "Whoa, this guy's really good. Look, he has like 56 people that gave him 5 stars for smoke bombs."
I guess I mean, if I set up a website, they could already have stuff like that where people can, you know,
Do you think people go to websites still? Like let's.
Yeah, that's true.
When was the last time you went to a website of somebody versus like, let me check out their social media?
No, that's true. You just check out their Instagram or something, typically, right? So
Let's take a quick break and hear a word from our sponsors, G2 Athletics.
Hey everyone, this is Coach Gibbs from G2 Athletics, located in Vancouver, BC. As a former professional and NCAA athlete, I have over 10 years of professional experience in the game of basketball, which has also allowed me to train youth athletics worldwide, as well as training NBA players and assisting with NBA workouts with athletes such as Metta World Peace, DeMar DeRozan, Kelly Oubre, Jason Tatum, and more. For a limited time, Coffee and Banana listeners will receive an additional 15% discount on our seasonal training academy and basketball products with promo code COFFEE15. That's COFFEE15 with no spaces, all caps. Visit g2athletics.com and receive an additional 15% discount on all training sessions and basketball products. That's g2athletics.com with promo code COFFEE15. Go now, become a part of the G2 family, and improve your game.
Thanks, Gibbs. And now we're back to Coffee and Banana.
yeah, but I mean, I Google it pretty well. Like if I'm going to go out for dinner, I'll Google the restaurant and just see what the reviews are and stuff. So
Yeah.
Maybe everybody will have a review one day, just like, what's this guy like? And I could just Google your name and then you'll see, he's only got 3 stars. This guy, why does he only have 3 stars? And I can look up what people have said about you from interactions, like just from when you took an Uber or when you ordered pizza and didn't tip the guy or whatever, right? Like everything will have a rating one day, maybe.
Do you think it'll be like one of those like dystopian type situations where people will say, all right, let me see how low I can go. And then
you probably have people like that.
Trying to be on the other side of the scale.
But that's like, will it create a better world maybe? Because everybody will want to, I got to have my rating has to get up there.
But I feel like it will be more like that
good
Black
world,
Mirror episode.
Yeah, where you're like, oh no, they gave me a bad rating. And
it's like, what can I do better to improve this interaction? And then
it'll create this world of fakeness where everybody's just like, okay, I got to be nice to this person, even though I don't feel like it.
Until the zeros come in, the actual heroes. They're like, you know what? We don't fuck with this system.
Zeros are heroes. That'll be the new thing, eh?
There we go. Dave coined it first.
Zeros are heroes.
Definitely. It's always cool to talk about random things because, I mean...
Maybe a bit too random.
There's people that are... Is that... guys,
most people are probably thinking, who is this guy and what is he about? Like,
they're gonna know after this. Let me just put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I always forget this minor thing. But I do, as much as I love talking about random stuff, maybe you can tell me the process of like how you went from landscape to getting actual talent on screen for your pictures and some of the TikTok videos you were talking about.
Well, years ago, like I said, when I got into photography, It was more just landscapes. So I'd get up early in the morning and go off to try to take sunrise pictures, or I'd be driving home from work and I'd see the sunset looks nice, and I'd have my camera with me all the time. So okay, I had to go somewhere and take pictures of this. But I was so subject to the weather.
Especially being in Vancouver, you're like, oh, fuck this shit.
I'd get up some mornings and I'd want to take a picture, but it's raining or whatever. So I started getting more into night photography. Okay. And at night, you don't want to be walking around downtown by yourself with a bunch, thousands of dollars worth of camera equipment. So started hanging around with some guys, and eventually we had a gang of, we called it the Friday Fam, actually, but
nice.
It was a gang of some guys and girls that sometimes there was like 6 or 7 of us. And we'd just walk around downtown taking pictures. But then I found I had people now with me to be in my pictures. And so more further away, not really portraits or anything at that time, but I just found it was more interesting with people in it. And then they started getting them in closer and closer, started getting more and more into trying to do more portrait style pictures. And then I started getting hit up by people who wanted to get pictures done.
Yeah.
And one model in particular that kind of, I would say, set it off was Georgia. So Georgia, if you're out there.
Georgia, nice.
Yeah, she hit
me
up
last
with pictures.
Name, just like Oprah and.
It's just Georgia, man. Okay. That's all she needs. She's awesome model, and we had a really good shoot. And after that, I started getting a lot of other models hitting me up for shoots. And then the more that happens, it just kind of snowballs from there, right? So because everybody who hits me up, then and there's other people that follow them and they see it.
And you're very consistent with your postings online, so they get to see, like, it's kind of like every time you post, it's like your portfolio. So
exactly.
They get to see
it's building a portfolio of people, so people can see my work and then be inspired, hopefully, to have me
that's where
some
I think your
right?
BTS is really like next level. And you think it's whatever, you just post TikToks, but they look really, it's like the production value of your sets. I know it's like DIY sometimes, but it's, you actually really go in, you take your time, especially when you incorporate fire into anything, and then you show, hey, this is what I did and this is what came after. Well, who taught you this process that, I'm going to show them this, then I'm going to show you what it became, this format?
I saw other people doing behind the scenes video and stuff, so I didn't make it up. Like, it's something that started getting popular on Instagram a few years ago, where people would kind of post some behind the scenes stuff.
Sure.
But the way I do it, I give away my secrets, but that's okay. But I attach my iPhone right to the side of my camera. Okay. And then I try to match like the focal length of my camera to my iPhone as much as possible, like just by zooming in. That way I kind of get the same, hit the mic. Yeah, no, I get the same picture from my camera as I do with the video. It matches it pretty good, right?
Awesome.
And so then I try to show in the video, then right at that point where I took the picture, then I kind of flash to the picture.
Super cool.
In one way I like to show that because my pictures can kind of look like maybe they were just photoshopped or something. Yeah. Like, people don't understand how it was done a lot of times. They're just like, and I don't want them to just kind of go, it's just a Photoshop picture. Sure. That's cool. But so I kind of want to show them the work that goes into it. It's not just something I sat down at the computer and made up or whatever, right? So
what's the longest you took on one set design, or just like a full shoot for like one picture?
I wouldn't I didn't put in as much time, but a shoot that we did last year, a makeup artist spent 6 hours painting this guy up like a dragon.
Oh, crazy.
Full body makeup. And then we met in Port Moody and we shot for a few hours. Freezing cold, and he's wearing nothing, like just a little loincloth and stuff. And he's a fire breather, so he's like breathing fire and stuff. It was an amazing shoot, but the time that went into that one was like, they started at noon or something, and we met at 6 p.m. and did the shoot, right? But
is that how you got into fire?
But my shoots typically go pretty quick.
Okay.
No, that's not how I got into fire. I got into fire. I was doing a lot of steel wool photography, which is, it's like, I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but you take steel wool, it's a totally nerd thing. Yeah. And you shove it inside an egg whisk. Okay. And you attach it to a rope, you light it on fire, and you spin it around, and all the sparks fly off.
Oh,
and then
I see what you mean.
you take a long exposure photo of that. And it turns out different every time, like the sparks go flying, and you're capturing the trails of light of the sparks flying. So it looks pretty cool.
That is very cool.
And
it's
so
more the science behind the steel wool thing, because I know about the lower shutter and then you get that feature. I just didn't know steel wool would give you that best effect. Do you light it up?
I didn't know either till I saw people doing it, and I wanted to try it, right? But yeah, it's pretty
cool.
well. And long exposure photography is always kind of a cool surprise, right? Like even just you take a long exposure picture of a car going by or something, and you get the trail of light. And I remember the first time I took a picture like that, I was like, what? Like, this is so cool, right? And it was just a crappy picture, but I thought it was amazing.
And then your model's like frozen. They can't move at all.
Yeah, so when I'm doing it now, I'll do, let's say, a 2-second exposure with fire. So it'd be like, click, the shutter opens, and I do the fire stick circle, let's say. And then when I complete the circle, the shutter closes, and it's taking a picture that whole time of the flame moving. But the model has to be super still. If there's movement, then it just, they look blurry, or makes them look like a monster even. Sometimes it just looks really weird, right? So it's tricky, but, most of them are pretty good at it. And also I use a flash at the same time, which helps them even if they're moving a bit. As long as it's really dark, then the flash captures them without you seeing the movement of when it was dark, right? So,
I see.
I mean, once you wrap your mindset around it, it's pretty easy. But it's
I think it's easy to you, but it's like as a process behind everything. I think the biggest transition for any photographer, anybody working in there, is like you're working by yourself, and now you're working with people. So if you're just taking pictures of landscapes, which is great, but as soon as there's people involved, I think that's such a big step, because now you have to. Have you been in a situation where you had to almost coach them to like, hey, your face kind of looks awkward, or this movement could be better?
Oh yeah. Like I'm getting better at that as we go along too. Like I remember when I first started, I didn't really even know what would look good as a pose, right? So I wouldn't know what to do. I would just hope that they knew what to do, right?
Yeah.
But I would kind of help them pose certain ways if they weren't experienced. But working with the experienced models, they've taught me a lot, actually, for now that when I go to work with somebody who's not as experienced, I can give them better coaching, right? Because these models, you just start clicking, and they just, it's just a natural for them. Every time they hear the click, they hit another pose, click.
That's awesome.
Another one. And again, it's just, I learned a lot from them. So for sure.
And have you ever had a situation where somebody was a little nervous?
Oh yeah. Like, again, the experienced ones, they're not nervous at all. They're just, once the camera's rolling, they're just loving it, right? But yeah, definitely I've worked with some people who are just, regular people, wanted pictures done, and they're a little more nervous. But I just tell them, just be natural. It's going to be fun. And once we get started, it is fun. Like, the fire is going or whatever, and it's exciting, and everybody relaxes and has a good time. That's the comment I get after every photo shoot is, that was so fun, and that was an adventure, because usually it's in the dark and you're stumbling around looking, it's kind of, it's a good time.
I like this one you did. You went to the beach, and it looked like there was like floating women. And do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I did that in Port Moody.
That was Port Moody.
Yeah.
How long do you take for the actual location scout process?
I have lots of locations that I already know about. So I kind of go back to them all the time.
Sure.
That one in Port Moody is a really cool spot.
Okay. You don't have to expose it. Don't worry.
You got to go there when the tide's out, right? If the tide's up, then you can't even get out there. But I have, from landscape shooting, actually, is where I got a lot of my locations, because I would be going from place to place looking for cool spots all the time, right? So now I've got this list of tons of different places, depending on what sort of photo shoot we're after, right? So there's certain alleys downtown, or areas in East Van and stuff with cool graffiti, and or certain spots for nature that are really cool, like Pitt Meadows, or some spots in Port Moody, right? So
have you collaborated with a photographer in the past, or just like another photographer on set while you're working? I've
had friends come out and help and work with me. Again, when we had the Friday Fam thing going on, we were always doing collaboration type shoots where we'd help each other do shots and stuff. Like one person be doing steel wool, the other person maybe has an umbrella and they're hiding under it, or we do
That's incredible.
all sorts of shots involving everybody, right? So it's fun to collaborate with people for sure.
Nice. And they probably have a lot of confidence because you had that one dude in the middle of downtown on a toilet.
Oh, that's my stepbrother, or my brother-in-law.
Oh, nice.
His name's Dave too. So we have an ongoing series called Suit and Tie Guy.
Okay.
So years ago.
Tell us about this. Okay, Suit and Tie Guy, Dave. The floor is yours.
Well, it started. I was kind of feeling, I think, jaded about work maybe or something. And I wanted to do a photo of a guy just looking like he's just tired of it all, like just tired of the whole working game. Like, why do I have to go to work every day to pay the bills, and why is life like this kind of thing, right? So I just had him with a briefcase, laying in a full suit, just laying in the middle of the road, and I photoshopped the line going over top of him.
Okay.
And so
nice.
I can't remember I had a really good caption with it, but it's escaping me now. But anyways, and we took a few other pictures, like another one, he's walking with his briefcase down the road and all the papers are spilling out.
I saw that one. That was a cool one too.
It's kind of cool. So it started with that. And then we did another photo shoot where we went on the Lionsgate Bridge early one morning. Like it was still dark out. It's like Sunday morning. And I wanted to take pictures of him looking like he was climbing the bridge, like with his briefcase and stuff.
Yeah.
So he's up on the barrier and he's like got one hand up on the, the cable or whatever they call it. He's got his briefcase in his hand. Crazy. And this car goes by and it slows down and then it goes off into the distance. And then a couple of minutes later, like it was pretty fast, like maybe 5 minutes later, we're standing on the bridge and the police boat, like we see the police boat jockeying underneath the bridge. We're like, oh, what's going on? And then we look and there's police cars coming in both directions over the bridge.
Oh my
like,
God.
Oh, okay. This isn't good.
No
and a police lady gets out of the car and she's like, don't move, guys, don't move. And we're like, it's okay, we're just taking pictures. So she walks over, she's like, what are you doing? We're like, oh, just taking pictures. She's like, well, we had a call that somebody was gonna, climbing the bridge or something, right? It's like, no, we weren't doing that. She goes, can we get that camera view there? And we're like, well, maybe we were just a little bit pretending, right? She's like, okay, well, don't do that anymore. She's like, what are you taking the pictures for? And I said, that's just for the gram. She's like, really? Okay.
What time is it, by the way?
I think it was like 6 a.m. or something on Sunday, right?
Hilarious.
So there wasn't much traffic, but at this point, while she's talking to us, the traffic stopped, right? Like they stopped traffic in both directions. There's this police constable looking guy, looks like a sergeant or something. He's got the barrel mustache, whatever you call that. And
this is hilarious.
He's standing a little farther in the distance. He's like looking really not impressed at all, right? But the lady cop was really cool. Like I said, do you mind if I take a picture of you just talking to my buddy here?
Yeah.
And she's like, sure. So she pulls out her notepad and she pretends to start writing as I take a few pictures and stuff. So she was totally cool about it.
Nice.
Got a good picture for the
Did you post
Instagram.
That?
Yeah.
Okay, I
it's on
didn't
my
see
Instagram.
that. Oh man, I can't believe I missed that.
And I talk about the whole incident on there, but
That's
it was that started the legend of Suit and Tie Guy, I guess you could say. That was when the legend was born.
Nice.
So now we just do pictures kind of every holiday type thing. I missed this Easter. I was so busy, but we would go out on Easter and he'd be wearing bunny ears, and we did smoke bombs on Granville Street with him with bunny ears looking ridiculous. Or I've had him in all sorts of crazy situations, like swimming underwater in his suit or standing out in the middle of the ocean, like up this deep with, this suit and stuff. They're just the craziest situations we can kind of think of, just to trying to up our game all the time. Like we did smoke bombs on what do you call it, Water Street, like right in front of the steam clock. And he had a pumpkin on his head, and we stuck the smoke bomb right inside the pumpkin, and so the smoke's all pouring out of the eyes and stuff. And he had a fireproof balaclava on and goggles, so it didn't get in his eyes. And then we put a snorkel in his mouth and had a tube going down his leg so that he could breathe.
Oh, wow.
And then he's standing there, and there's these tourists, and you hear, "Oh, Halloween, Halloween!" It's just so funny, right? So anyway, any situation we can put him in is kind of fun.
I think I saw one that he was in a bathtub.
Yeah, that too. And that's a thing where you see people do the milk bath thing. So thought I haven't seen one with a dude in a suit laying in a bath of
This
milk.
makes things look so much cooler. We should have just worn a suit for this episode. Look at us.
Should have brought him along, actually. It'd be a good interview.
Yeah. Maybe we can do a follow-up and bring him back, because suit and tie, maybe like 5 years from now, is going to be huge. Everyone's going to follow it. And then Justin Timberlake calls you, wants to sue you, because he made the song called Suit and Tie Shit with Jay-Z.
Oh, he probably copied me, man. I was doing that years ago.
Okay, there we go. Justin Timberlake's like, yo, this is like 2014. He started 2017.
Okay, I copied you then, Justin. Sorry, buddy.
But he probably copied somebody else anyways.
Actually, where I got Suit and Tie Guy, the name from was an old Dirty Rotten Imbeciles, DYI. Have you ever heard of them?
I have not.
It's an old heavy metal band.
Nice.
And there's a song called Suit and Tie Guy, and it's super heavy, and it's this suit and tie guy that's just sick of it all. He goes out moshing, and it's pretty funny. It's a good video.
I'll tell you that. Who's this guy? Is it a band, or is it like one guy?
No, it's a band called Dirty Rotten Imbeciles.
Dirty Rotten Imbeciles.
I think that's what they're called.
And the song's called Suit and Tie Guy.
Suit and Tie Guy. You have to look it up. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Nice. Something about that. And so this is your stepbrother,
brother-in-law. Yeah, my sister's husband. Yeah.
Okay, cool. How did you convince him to be like, hey, bro, I'm gonna do this series, and you're gonna be the main guy behind all this?
He's just gung ho about it right away. Actually, yeah. I just thought I needed some guy in a suit, and he's tall, he looks good in a suit and stuff. Nice. So I just asked him, and he's a trooper, man. Like he'll go out and he do, like I said, I've had him swimming underwater in his suit, or like all sorts of crazy stuff, and he loves it. He just
how many suits has he ran through?
It's the same suit. That's the crazy thing. We've put it through so much, and he just throws it in the wash. He's like, I gotta see what happens.
What material is this? Like, I need this.
It's a cheap suit, right? So, but man,
it's always the cheap ones. They last so much longer.
It's amazing. It's quite the suit, actually. And he's actually just wearing, I think it's black jeans. It's but in the pictures you can't really tell, right? It's just it's a cheap jacket and a cheap tie and a cheap shirt.
Okay.
Every time we do something crazy with it, he's like, that's probably it for this suit, man. And he's like, I'll try throw it in the wash though, and it comes out good every time. So.
Okay, well, it's incredible. Yeah. All the stuff you've done. It's like I remember that Jack-o'-lantern one. That was so cool. I didn't know it was the same dude, which is hilarious.
Yeah, no, same guy every time. Yeah.
Nice. This is something for us to look forward to. We tried to do a photo shoot, which was like Pulp Fiction related, and it's so tough. We couldn't get it like to match the frames that we wanted, and we were just like, okay, let's give up on this idea. But are you a fan of Pulp Fiction, things like that?
Yeah.
Would you ever like say, let me take a scene out of that and then try to like?
For sure. Like I love trying. It might not necessarily always work, but I'm totally into always trying new things and seeing how it'll come out. And like we just did not Pulp Fiction, but it was a Kill Bill shoot.
Okay, cool.
Which her outfit wasn't exactly like Kill Bill or anything, but just and like she didn't have a
samurai sword. She had these two. I can't remember what she calls those the swords, but they're okay.
But it matched the theme enough where you could call it Kill Bill, and she was like a kick-ass fighter model girl. She's definitely a killer. So nice. It was an awesome shoot. Mm-hmm. She did Captain America at the same time. She brought a couple of different outfits, but that was an awesome shoot. I love themed shoots. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I see the themes.
And actually, as another thing is, I'm not always the one thinking of these themes and ideas. I would say a good majority of the time is the models coming up with these ideas. So it's so fun to work with creative people who come to me with cool ideas to try, right? And I love trying to pull them off and see how they go.
That's good. There's no ego on your side. You can just say, I like the idea, and that's what I'm going for. So if just plenty of
absolutely, it doesn't have to be my idea. I mean, I just hope I can take good pictures of their ideas. Right. So I love bringing other people's ideas to fruition. I think it's a good challenge.
Do you want to talk about a shoot where you don't say specifics, but it went horrible? That you're like, this is the worst shoot that I've had so far. Because always so far. It's not the worst shoot ever. It's so far.
Most of my shoots, really, like even I'll go to some shoots and I'm like, I don't know how this is going to go. This is going to be crappy. And I come out with good pictures almost every time. There's been, again, I won't get into specifics, but there's been a couple of duds, I guess, where just, I don't know, the location wasn't very good, or maybe the model wasn't in a great mood. But it's just literally there's only one or two out of all the shoots I've done. Like they all turn out good typically. Nice. Yeah. They're all fun.
How much easier is it when the model is just like cool to just like kick it with outside of the photo shoot, you know?
Again, most of the people I work with are really cool people. I've met so many awesome people through this. Yeah. I think maybe that's the type of people who hit me up, or maybe, you know, that we connect kind of, and then we end up doing a shoot. It's more I can tell when somebody's cool even before you meet them in person, right? Just by chatting with them. So yeah, most of the people I work with are such awesome, cool people, and really fun to work with. So
that's awesome. I mean, the creative world, from my experiences, it's not really like the traditional 9 to 5. So I love the suit and tie guy. By the way, that's like sick concept. And I feel like if you had this 20 years ago, and if you do 20 years in the future, it's still relevant. So I'm curious to see where this goes. But one thing about the whole corporate structure that I was never a fan of is the interview process, where you have to go and like you're selling yourself, but you're talking about like it's the best version of you. And sometimes, obviously, you're lying because you're not that great. But at the same time, Nobody's can't be humble, because if you're humble, they're like, okay, well, this guy's not that good. But you have to come out with your, you know, code switch, give your incredible interview voice, and all of a sudden sound smarter than you actually are. It's like a first date. But
that's true. Yeah.
It's. I never was a fan of that. My question to you is, and that starts with the rant and then it goes into the question. Your process before, when you were just working for that Port Moody company, this is my scenario in my head that I paint. Back in the day, people are like, he's like, hey man, I'm looking for a job. The guy's like, all right, you start tomorrow. That's how I paint like the 90s and the 80s, and that's how I thought it's always been.
Well, when you're younger too, I don't think it's not that important. You know, I'm just going to go be stapling furniture together, right? He didn't really care too much about.
I've had interviews
my
for
skills
Wendy's
and stuff. It was like, you can staple things together, and you got a driver's license, so you're hired. Like, it wasn't, you know, too important to know my educational background at that point and stuff, right?
Nice. And the guy was just like, by the way, just letting you know, I'm a little abusive, so I might swear
yell at you every day, and he didn't tell me that part. No,
see, he didn't. It's a first.
I hope you're
date.
listening, Glenn. You yelled at me every day.
Fucking Glenn, god damn it! Look at this. This is traumatizing.
Still remember your name though, yes. So that's good.
So actually, in that sense, Glenn, impressive. You know, you left a mark. We got to give him that. That's one of the things that I just was watching a TikTok video. They were talking about how people talk about like, I miss the old days and stuff, but whenever they talk about someone and their old school character, it's all about them being toxic in some way. Do you know who Latrell Sprewell is?
Why is that name ringing a bell?
So he played for the Golden State Warriors. He was a basketball player, and he played for Minnesota afterwards. He became famous because one time he got in an argument with his coach, and then he just started choking his coach.
Oh, maybe that's what.
And then I think he was suspended, and then he came back into the league afterwards. Like today, they would have been like, "You're out, you're completely out." Yeah. But he just did that, and people are like, "It's okay. They were heated. That's fine." But today, and even if I'm watching I love watching old school basketball games, and people would fight, people would swear, and they might get a technical, but they say, "All right, play on." But today you can't do any of that.
Oh, because it's bad for the league's reputation and stuff, right?
Everything is becoming more like watered down and cleaner, which is good in some way, because then you're like, I can watch it with my kids. But goes back to what we were saying earlier about the new generation that's not really used to, I guess, a realistic perspective of life, because they're just always online. They're
always just seeing the people's perfection that they put out there, exactly. Like not seeing the bad side of things, I guess, right? Well, that's a lot of it goes with why there's a lot of depression, I think, nowadays and stuff, because everybody just looks at their social media and they see everybody others, all the other people out there, their lives are so perfect. Look at them enjoying this beautiful day, and we're inside, and they're not seeing the crappy part of their days, right? You're just seeing all the good stuff, right? Yes. So then you're like, why isn't my life this awesome? And
definitely.
So you gotta think of that when you're looking at other people's social media. You're only seeing the best parts, right? So don't think everybody's lives are perfect.
That's so true. And have you been in a situation where you looked at, like, it could be early when you just got on social media, like, damn, these people are so much better at these taking pictures than I am. How can I get there?
Yeah, well, I mean, definitely, like going on Instagram, it's kind of why I got into photography mostly. Like I was on Instagram, I was seeing all these pictures that were awesome, and it's like, I want to take pictures like this, right? And so it was definitely inspiring, and even now, like, I'm always looking up pictures, and not even specifically looking them up, but I'll see a picture and that inspires me to want to try to, I don't want to copy it, but it inspires me to try new ideas all the time and stuff, for sure. Like the light stick that I just made was, there's tons of people that do stuff with light sticks, and one guy in particular that I learned fire from, but also does a lot of stuff with light stick, is Hellogi.
Okay.
On Instagram. He's from Prince George.
Prince George.
He does some amazing stuff, right? But big influence for what I do now with the fire and stuff, right? So there's some other guys out there. I start naming names, but
we'll just say Friday Fam.
Friday Fam. All the people that I shot with were big influence. Blake on Instagram, he's Grafman.
Nice.
Grafman 420. If y'all want to look it up.
Nice.
Amazing stuff. He's not on the gram as much anymore, but he was a huge influence. He taught me steel wool, actually. Perfect. And
so is he like a set designer, or what's his background?
No, he's works in construction.
Okay.
But
so he builds the sets, or like the ideas that you have.
No, he's photographer. He just
he's a photographer as well. Okay.
Yeah, just like me.
Nice.
But
so what was his handle, so I can check it out?
Grafman 420.
Grafman 420.
Yeah,
nice.
When I first started doing night photography, I started hanging out with him, and
cool.
Like I said, learned a lot. And then another guy, Lee Solo, he does mostly portraits, and that was an inspiration for me, for sure, getting more into portraits and stuff, right? So,
Great.
Yeah, so...
See, that's what I love, and whenever I see great art, it inspires me. Or maybe it's a little bit ego, because I get a little competitive, because I'm like, I love this, but I want to do a little bit better, and I bring in my influence into it. And I think that has to do with how I was raised also, versus now that you talked about, like anxiety, depression, all these things are just all-time high. It's because we don't have these voices anymore where people can, there's so much information out there online that people think that they can just learn everything from the internet. They don't need to go to another person. But as soon as you grow up with a big family, or just you have a lot of friends, you can go outside, you see other perspectives and realize that, okay, this is a filtered version of their life. This is not who they are all the time. But we're able to recognize that, and when we see someone show, I guess, the best side of them, we can either use that as inspiration, but know that there's a real human behind that, and maybe that's who we want to learn from. Going back to this new generation, Gen Z, I seem like an old guy now, because they're looking at millennials as like, oh, you guys don't know how we are. The actual people that are going to change everything is Gen Z. We're the woke ones, and they're starting the whole cancel culture movement, which a lot of it has to do with them just not realizing, not understanding things, and it's just getting one perspective of things. Do you think about stuff like that?
Maybe not so much. No. You're getting a little deep for me now, buddy.
Is it?
Yeah,
okay.
but,
it's fun to think that way, but it boils down to, I don't look at the world this way, and clearly you don't look at the world this way, which is you can look at someone and be like, hey, that I can collaborate with this person. I can be inspired by this person, and then continue to bring that to my work, versus, oh, this person is doing this. Maybe find a reason to find out why they became successful, and then maybe have some animosity towards it, or have some sort of resentment that turns into my anxiety that I can't deal with, and then I'm not a clinical psychologist, so I don't know if this is the actual process.
Well, I mean, if you're talking about, connecting with people and stuff, I guess my motto is like, like everybody's human, right? Like everybody has good side and bad side to them and stuff, but
exactly.
I don't know, I'm getting lost on a tangent here.
Always.
But I do enjoy like the different aspects of working with people, no matter what their background. Like I'll do anything as far as photo ideas or working with different people. It doesn't matter where they're from or what they do. I can get inspiration from lots of different things for sure.
That's awesome. Do you, like, before working with someone, do you say that, hey, let's meet up, let's talk and collaborate? Or sometimes you're on set and it's the first time you've met them?
Yeah, just jump right into it most of the time. But there's always chat beforehand. We come up with ideas. But I definitely get nervous the first time, especially if we don't have a concrete ideas or anything like that. I'd be like, God, I hope I don't go out there and we're just, waste this person's time and, not get any good pictures or whatever, but it always seems to work out somehow. And we usually almost every time just hit it off with the people.
Nice. It's time for Coffee Tunes. This is a song that the Coffee and Banana team believes you should be listening to. This season's Coffee Tune is #FreeAfghanistan by Vancouver's very own Crescent, produced by East Boulevard's Marlowe. Here's a quick sample of the song.
Afghanistan, trying to take over the people and occupy their land. Though we weren't equipped, we the last ones to quit. Fighting back to 89 when the Soviets split. Now hold up. Why is that relevant? Cause the Pakistani closet is full of Afghan skeletons. The Muslims nowadays are focused more on what has gelatin. When it comes to support, they become a little hesitant. Blame it on the president or a lack of evidence. As they see us bleed, we hear them read, we'll be heaven sent. It's a facade to dedicate yourself to God, but not help the one.
Here's a little background about the song. Afghanistan is currently facing a humanitarian crisis. On August 15, 2021, Taliban fighters entered Kabul, the capital, which led to the fleeing of the president Ashraf Ghani and the government to collapse. To find out more about how you can help Afghanistan, please check the show notes of this podcast. Thank you very much, and now we're back to Coffee and Banana. Yeah. Do you guys are you the type of guy to say, let's have a coffee or let's grab some drinks or even smoke just to kind of like mellow out the tensions at the beginning? Because it's a little awkward meeting someone for the first time.
I know. I should do that a bit more. Actually, I've even thought of that. It's like I should take more time at the beginning of the photo shoot to chat and stuff. Yeah. But I think I'm just so excited to get into the picture. So nice. we'll meet up and be like, hi, how you doing? And I barely any conversation. I'm just like, hey, let's start shooting. And and I think afterwards, man, I should have just take a little more time to, just get to know the person a bit more and stuff, ask a few more questions. But we're always chatting while the shoot's going on and stuff too. So, but I will say I'm so busy too on the photo shoots. I find I'll look at the video afterwards and people will be talking to me and I'm like listening to the video. I'm not even answering back. I'm like, I fucking sound like a rude jerk, right? But it's just because I'm concentrating on my camera settings or setting up the lights or there's a lot going on. So I find I might ignore people a little bit. So sorry if I sound like I'm ignoring you on these shoots. I'm not. But just busy. You
can bring like an assistant. They could be like a designated talker. Be like,
I need an assistant actually. I have so much stuff to carry on my shoots now. It's ridiculous. So I'm having the models carry things now and stuff. And the last photo shoot I was on, they had their friends. They were sitting in the car and I was like, oh, come out and watch. And then I recruited them to carry some lights and stuff. And just got. I definitely have to get an assistant out there sometimes for these shoots.
Nice.
But that's all good.
Have you done anything alien related? I know I brought that up earlier, but I'm curious if you've done any alien type shoots.
We've done like kind of spaceship stuff.
I saw that one. That one, the astronaut one.
Yeah, I've done a couple.
That one was super cool.
We did a couple kind of themed like that, but I guess not an alien. No.
I might have just given you the next idea. And you're like,
we're planning on doing a space themed shoot. I wouldn't maybe call it alien. Well, she could look like an alien. She's going to be painted up in full body paint with like black light paint, whatever you call it.
Oh, okay.
So it'll glow when you put a black light on it.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to somehow have it look like she's hanging or floating there. And then I have a projector that will put looks like the galaxy or stars up on the ceiling. So we haven't figured out how we're going to do that one yet, but it's a makeup artist that I work with. She's the one who did the dragon makeup on that guy.
Okay.
So she's going to do that one. That's cool. So
that's super cool. How much of your, if I'm seeing a picture, how much of it is Photoshop and how much of it is all practical?
I barely use Photoshop. I use Lightroom to bring out, when I take a picture, typically you need to bring out the shadows and everything. And, so I give it editing in Lightroom, and then if, let's say on a fire picture, you can see my feet in the background, even then I don't go to Photoshop. I just spot repair with Lightroom typically. Okay. If I have to use Photoshop, it might be, let's say I wanted to add the sky, put some stars in the sky or something like that, then I might use Photoshop. I'm actually terrible at Photoshop. Like I only know how to do a few things. Like I can change the background in a picture, or I can blend some pictures together. Like if I have a few fire pictures, I might want to, the person's face might not look good in one, but the fire looks awesome. Yeah. So I might take their face from one picture that they weren't moving, and put that in the other picture where the fire looks better. Okay. So I call it cheating. I don't like to do that, and I barely ever do it because I'm getting a lot better now at capturing them with the flash and stuff, so I don't have to be honest, do that.
That's what I thought you did all the time.
What, Photoshop them in?
Yeah, no, or like you would put a few of them in place and be like, okay, there's a combination of the fire looking better here, but the face looks better here. So you would mix it up.
Barely ever now, yeah. Really? Like just like I find if I have it dark enough while I'm taking the picture, and the flames behind them, so it's just backlighting them, so their face is still dark if there wasn't a flash. Yeah. Then when you put the flash on that, the flash is just there for a second, and that captures their face sharp. Perfect. They still have to be really still because the fire is still lighting the sides of their face and stuff. So, but it helps tons. And again, I can't remember the last time even I had to do it. It was quite a while ago because most of the time they just work out good. But I will use Photoshop. Let's say if I'm if it's more of a close-up portrait too, and I want to make the face look nicer and stuff, I'll go into Photoshop and do that. But,
do you use neutral? Do you have the 2021 version of Photoshop
with the neutral filters?
Neutral filters. Have you seen them?
That's crazy. Pretty crazy actually. Yeah. It's I've been using that the last few, only for the last 2 or 3 photo shoots. Okay. Kind of discovered that because I never even really knew about that until just a month ago. But I've been using that a bit, and again it's kind of, it feels almost like cheating because I'm just like, where something used to take me an hour or half an hour at least, now it's just like click. Hey, that looks pretty good. Maybe a little too soft or whatever. I try to not do it like go crazy with it. I don't want the picture to look too soft. I still like to have the textures of the skin and everything like that. So I don't go crazy with the Photoshop editing, but just to make the models look a little nicer for sure.
Somebody sent me some corporate pictures that they took off their phone, like very bad pictures. And then I used neutral filters and I made the person look a little bit younger, and their smile was a little too big. So I brought the smile down, and it's literally I'm just dragging this thing, and the picture looks incredible. And I'm like, whoa, I just did this in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's wild.
But back in the day, I never updated my Photoshop because I didn't think, I'm like, it's the same tools time to time. I got used to it. And prior to that, I used to use Fireworks. Do you know what Fireworks is?
No.
So back in the day, when I was using Photoshop and everything, they used to be called Macromedia. Have you heard of Macromedia?
Yeah.
Before Adobe, that was the company. I don't know if they're still around now, but they had Flash, they had Shockwave, I think. Do you remember Do you remember any of these things?
No, I was never into photo editing or anything before. When I started getting into it, it was everybody was into Lightroom, right? So
okay, that makes a lot of sense. But like when I started with all of that, coming into the new ones, I'm like, I don't even need to. I like the OG version because it's harder, and when you're doing more work, you feel like you deserve that result. Yeah. But when you have to adjust this thing slightly, and now their face looks so much cleaner.
It does feel like cheating.
I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this. This looks better than what I would have probably done. But
same with the sky replacement in Photoshop. Like I used to spend so much time like trying to trace around things to replace the sky and stuff.
The content fill, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, now it's just like, click, there's the sky. Like, really? Yeah. Okay. That's like too easy.
Or maybe it's better because you get your vision out faster.
Yeah, I guess. I don't mind if things are easier. Why not? Like it's certainly made editing my pictures a lot faster. So, but again, I don't use Photoshop all that much. And I'm so fast with editing Lightroom now. I know when I look at a picture what I want to do, so I can. Getting pretty quick at getting the pictures out to people nowadays.
So after the shoot is done, how many days until they have something that they can look at?
Usually, if not the next day, the day after.
That's hella fast.
I'm fast.
Yeah, it's really fast.
If I have time. Sometimes I might not have time the next day to edit, but like no more than 3 or 4 days to get the pictures out almost. And most of the time, like I just did 2 shoots. I did a shoot on Wednesday night and did a shoot on Thursday night. I had the shoots out to the Wednesday night shoot on yesterday, and same with the other one from Friday or from Thursday. I had them out to her last night. So just I had the day off yesterday as a holiday, and I spent the day editing. But the fire pictures are actually pretty easy to edit. So just whip through those pretty quick.
Okay, that's super cool. One thing I'm going to change the topic a little bit because this is random, but it came to my mind right now. So you're originally from Winnipeg, and you came over here and you realize, wow, it's so much greener and there's more nature here. Is there 3 things you could tell someone like me who's never been to Winnipeg that's cool about Winnipeg?
So that's cool about Winnipeg,
or like decent, you know? I
something at least decent,
because it was okay. I'm doing research. I'm looking at it, and it's like we have the longest trail in the world, and I'm like, such a non thing that I would care for. Like this, it's not even interesting to me. It's like this trail is one of the longest in the world, and I'm like, people measure that. I feel bad for the people that measure this trail.
Like when I moved away from Winnipeg,
and you're thinking about it, and you're from there. That's how it showed. Yo, Winnipeg, turn it up a little bit.
Trying to think of something good. No,
they have a museum, don't they? They have a museum.
Actually, when I was a little kid, I used to love going to the museum in Winnipeg, I must say. Okay. I think it was larger than life when you're a little kid, but there's this museum in downtown Winnipeg that had a ship, like a big sailing ship or whatever, right in the middle of the museum. And again, to me, thinking back, like when I was a little kid, this thing seemed like amazingly huge, and maybe now it's just, you know, things are always way not as good when you're an adult, right? But,
exactly.
But I used to love going there when I was a kid, and then there was we had a houseboat that we shared with another couple of families, and it was actually an old fishing boat that they, you know, built some couches in. There was like pretty, you know, bunk houseboat. But anyways, we used to go on trips up the river, the Red River, and onto Lake Winnipeg, and then go to Gimli. And those are great memories. I mean, so there's some, you know, good aspects there, I guess. But winters are super long and cold in Winnipeg, and the summers, from what I remember, I just remember there was lots of mosquitoes and stuff like that. So I was really happy.
Not really selling Winnipeg to a non-Winnipeg person.
No, I mean, again, Winnipeg, the people there, will say, really nice people. Like I've gone back to visit. I have some family there still and stuff.
Great.
Really awesome, nice people in Winnipeg. But weather-wise, you know, definitely, you know, much nicer out here on the West Coast.
Yeah, definitely.
So
something cool
glad we moved here when I was a kid, for sure.
Okay.
I remember crying when I was young when we moved away. Wow,
is it because of your friends?
Missing all, you know, missing my friends and stuff, and why do we have to move to Vancouver? You know, but definitely happy we made the move when I was.
Your parents were like, "We're the adults. We control your life at this stage. Later on, you can rebel, but for now,
I was just 10, so there's no rebelling when you're that age."
Exactly. It's always interesting thing when you hear stories of Tom Sawyer. Wasn't he like 9 when he was alone by himself?
I
don't know. It's been a long time since I read that book.
Yeah,
but
I was probably 10 when I read the book.
Okay, there we go. So it's a while ago. But so Winnipeg has this big ass boat that we can look forward to in front of a museum. It might not even be that big.
It might not even be there anymore, for all I know.
Great.
It was like long time ago.
Let's hope that it's there.
How long ago that was. Right.
And then also just hanging out with friends, but that's always good anytime. There's something I was going to tell you about that you may not know. There's an artist. His name is YSN Fab, F-A-B, and he's from Winnipeg. He's a rapper. He's actually coming up as one of the emerging rappers in Canada, and he's from Winnipeg, which is so that's random. Cool. He doesn't sound like he's from Winnipeg. He sounds like he's from New York or LA or Atlanta, something completely different. What is the music scene like in Winnipeg? Do you know anything about that?
I wouldn't know. Like I said, I haven't been there for so long.
I'm just curious. Like when you were a kid, do you remember what you listened to? Like what genre of music was popular around just your friends?
Yeah. Like so back then was the disco era. I remember going to
Bee Gees.
I remember going to the roller skate rinks, and we'd roller skate around to Boney M and
I love Boney M.
Actually,
And you know they're coming back with
tunes,
TikTok,
actually.
right? Do you see
Are
that?
they?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
It's going viral.
I used to love Boney M actually, and of course the Bee Gees and all that. Saturday Night Fever, I remember was
Wait,
huge.
Boney M is considered disco?
I would say so. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought that was just like good music.
Oh, it's totally disco. The Saturday Night Fever was huge when I was in grade 3, I think it was. I remember me and this kid named Corey, who was, and
This is a great memory that you have, by the way. Incredible.
I don't know why that name's coming. And then these girls were in grade 3, and we would go down into his basement. He was this Italian kid, and he'd have the disco light set up, and we'd crank up the Saturday Night Fever, and we'd be like doing the disco dancing, like, you know. How old are you in grade 3? Is it like 9 years old maybe or something? Or an 8 or 9?
Yeah.
But yeah, we'd be doing all the John Travolta moves and stuff and dancing with the girls. And
it's great.
Very funny. And then I remember Kiss.
Grade 3, I was watching Dragon Ball Z.
I was into Kiss too.
Nice. Were they really that big? Because I just see documentaries, at this point of their status.
Me, they were huge. Yeah. Okay. Like when I was a little bit older, even I had this was after I moved here to Vancouver, so I was maybe 11 or 12.
Yeah.
But I had the big, huge life-size Kiss posters on my wall.
Crazy.
Of, Gene Simmons and Ace Frehley and Paul Stanley.
Yeah.
And we'd be in my basement with like broomsticks and stuff, like pretending we're Kiss. And,
Do you play any instruments?
No, I don't. That's something I actually regret never picking up the guitar. So maybe it's not too late now.
It's never too late.
But I've tried the harmonica and actually have jammed with some of my friends who play guitars and stuff. And I can, if I get the right harmonica that matches with the notes that they're playing or whatever you call it, then I can make it sound sort of decent, but enough to just have fun with it. And I've tried singing along with things too, but it's more. It's not good. It's just more having fun when you're drinking type stuff.
Definitely.
But I do definitely wish I played guitar, especially. It would have been it's a cool instrument. I can play a wicked air guitar for sure.
Okay, that's really very important. So you can play it, and then you can just edit some music that comes in there.
There's if you look on my if you want to see my singing, you can look on my YouTube if you want to search it.
Let's search it. Everyone.
We're doing a Tenacious D. Greatest song in the world.
I know that one.
This is not the greatest song in the world.
That's good. That's a good start. It's a good voice. Do you want to give us a little bit of a sample?
That and it's terrible. My buddies, or it's my brother-in-law again, but he's playing guitar. A different brother-in-law this time.
Nice.
And I'm just giving her on the vocals, like really terrible, but it's pretty funny. So if you're interested in seeing some bad singing, go ahead and look that up.
So Tenacious D, Dave Worden cover.
It's called Tenacious T and D because he's Travis and I'm Dave. So Tenacious T and D.
Nice.
If you want to look that one up,
we'll definitely search this up, do some research. But so overall, just for the people that are watching and listening, Winnipeg is great, but it's not that great. Because someone that's from Winnipeg has to think about it. We're not here bashing Winnipeg.
Winnipeg is awesome. Love Winnipeg.
The people in Winnipeg are awesome.
They are.
Winnipeg itself, well,
even Winnipeggers would admit the weather is not good in Winnipeg.
There, see, we're on your side, Winnipeg people. So stop telling us that there's a world record for this fucking trail because we don't care. We stopped measuring the rest of the world's trails. I could have got that wrong. It could have been something else that they have a world record for. But I just saw the heading and I'm like, why would people care for this? But I guess that's a business.
I didn't know about this trail either. That's news to me.
I think it's the river you were talking about because it freezes in the winter.
Okay.
So that is the longest. It turns into the longest frozen road.
Oh,
that's what they were, I think, talking about. I just looked at the headline and I'm like, whoa, and I was outraged. And I'm like, if I was Gen Z, I would try to get them canceled, but I'm not.
If it's a trail, isn't the Trans-Canada Trail the longest trail in the world?
See, I wouldn't know. You know what I mean?
Goes right across Canada, man.
Yeah. I mean, that makes way more sense. That's probably interesting and functional, It
is. I've walked on it.
Yeah. It's good to know. Is there any advice you give someone who's afraid to try something new because they think that they've passed that curiosity phase?
geez, I hope nobody's past the curiosity phase. That's because then you're not creating anymore, right? Like you have to be curious to be creative, I think, and keep on learning to, learning new things to keep on creating, right? You can't just be stagnant. So, I'm always into learning new things. I love trying different stuff and always trying to keep things fresh, right? So
cool.
Yeah.
Do you face, I'm sure we all do, procrastination sometimes? You're like, oh, I don't want to do this, or I'm too tired, or I'll edit this later. How do you motivate yourself to let's get back into this?
This stuff getting boring, people not, I try not to look at the likes that you're getting and stuff, but when you see that you're not getting as much likes on something, you say, oh, maybe people are bored of this or that. But the best thing to do is just don't even look at that crap and just do what makes you happy.
Exactly.
And people will come to that, right? Like if people like that, then that's the type of people you want to be coming to see your stuff, is the people that like what you're doing. Don't try to do stuff for what you think other people will like. Do it for what you like, and then you'll get the right people.
Definitely.
And that's the best. Then you're doing what you love, and people are liking it. So what could be better?
That's incredible advice. Do you have any specific advice that you want to give? Let's say a young Dave is out there listening to this interview or watching this, and he's like, whoa, this is incredible. I love old Dave. I'm young Dave.
I wish I could be you, young Dave. That's what I would say.
But what advice would you give him?
I don't know. Get into photography now, dude. Why don't wait till you're 42 to get into photography? I wish I got into photography earlier, truthfully, because I love it. It's so fun. But back, I guess, when let's say I wanted to get into photography when I was in my 20s, it was definitely not the same world as it is now, right? Creating digitally, it's a totally different thing. I don't even know if you could call it the same thing as film photography. It's a totally different thing, right?
Completely.
I remember taking pictures with my film camera. In the old days, you'd have 20 pictures or whatever it was, 24 pictures on a roll. Once you're done, right? So you weren't just like snap, 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 and then I'll see which picture works out good.
Yes.
You take one good frickin' picture and then develop it good, and so. It's so much easier, I think, nowadays I can I'll go on a shoot and I'll take 400 pictures, right? And then just go through and pick out the ones that are best. So it's definitely a lot of respect for the old film photography guys who, you got to get it right the first time or you're wasting a bunch of money on film, right? So
Definitely. Yeah. Do you have any siblings?
I got a sister and my mom remarried. So I got, stepbrother and stepsister.
Okay, cool. So they saw your photography first, as far as that old school cameras you're talking about.
I was always on when we go on family vacations. I always seem to be the picture guy.
Nice.
I was the guy.
They're like, you have a face for a cameraman.
Yeah, I was the perfect one to be behind the camera. No, I just I don't know. I was always into it, and video too. I would just always be the one. Matter of fact, my wife would get mad at me. She'd be like, you're not even enjoying the vacation. You're just taking pictures and video the whole time. It's like, that's where I'm enjoying it. It's fun, right? And I
feel that 100%.
Like to make the pictures.
We feel that 100%.
And then I'd send the pictures and video to people afterwards. But yeah, I would be less in the moment, I guess, truthfully. You're maybe not, but then you're remembering the moment for years afterwards because you've captured it, right? So
definitely.
But anyways, getting back to... it was my sister who got me into the better cameras. I just had a crappy point and shoot at first, and she bought a Canon DSLR, just an entry level. Can't remember the model now.
The Rebel, right?
The Rebel, yeah. And I remember her showing me a picture. She took a picture of me or something, and you got the blurry background. And that looks so professional. Wow, that's awesome. I gotta get a camera.
By the way,
like
I
this.
hate that comment. When people look at something and they're like, that looks so professional. That's the comment.
That was my thought, though, is it looks more like a professional photo, that you see a portrait of somebody taking.
100%, I get you.
So I went out and got an entry level Nikon.
Nice.
And just to be different, I didn't want to get a Canon because she had a Canon. Excuse me. And got a couple of lenses, and then started doing started doing landscape pictures more. And again, I told the story of how it evolved from there, right?
Yeah.
But thanks to my sister for getting me into the good cameras. And,
Yeah, shout out your sister.
yeah, shout out to
Pam.
And Suit and Tie Guy is Pam's husband. Right?
There you go. Pam is just like full of ideas.
Yeah,
And
right. Pam, she supplies the models for me and the inspiration.
Mm-hmm. And was it Stacy from Arizona? Is that her name?
For the TikTok, yeah. She's always been a big fan of my pictures and stuff too.
Nice.
She's awesome. So.
Nice.
She always pumps me up and
that's
tells
awesome.
me how good she thinks I am. So.
What about your wife? Did she like, this picture wasn't that good? Or does she's like supporting you all the time?
She's really good to give me good advice, actually. She used to work for a photographer when we lived in Whitehorse.
Oh, okay.
And she's got a really good eye for like seeing details in photographs, and
Great.
I'm not as detail orientated. Like I'll miss little details. I more see maybe the big picture of things.
Yes.
So she'll see, got to fix this or that, or I don't like it because of this. I'll be like, oh, you're right. So I always run by pictures by her. Some pictures she doesn't like, so I might not run them by her.
Yeah.
But most of them I'll run by her for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Dave, there's something about you, like, I think when I met you for the first time, we were just speaking on the phone, you have this like crazy energy about you. And
Really?
I think that it's like a very positive energy
That's cool.
I don't have to, it's kind of like when I first started talking to you, it feels like I'm just connecting with an old friend kind of thing, you know?
That's cool.
And that's like such a cool vibe. And I think as a photographer, just working in the creative field, because it's a very collaborative, you need to be working with other people. And I think that's like such a positive thing that you have. And we can see it in your pictures.
That's cool, man. I've actually got that comment from some of the people I've worked with too. It's like, oh, I hit it off right away. It's it's like we've worked together already before and stuff. So it's good if I can be like that. It makes me happy for sure.
That's really awesome, man. I appreciate you for coming through and just like talking. You know,
thanks for having me out, man.
Yeah, man, it's fun. You're super cool. And
I must say I was really nervous before, but you made me at ease and stuff. So
no
thanks
problem.
for that.
See, it's all about talking about aliens. You know,
Yeah,
if you talk about aliens, the guy's like, oh fuck, okay, that's where we're going with this. Then we can go back to talk about photography after. And then it doesn't even matter. It's so much easier.
Yeah, I know, man.
That's all about. I appreciate you, man. Thank you, everyone. And
Thank you. Where's the camera? Right there.
Until it's all over. Yeah. Until next time.
All right.
All right. Peace out.
Okay, that was cool, man.
That was cool. Nice. Dave, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Great meeting you.
Fully. Blast, man.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. A huge shout out to the Coffee and Banana team. It goes without saying, we can't get anything done without this amazing team. Video manager, Cole Weststeyn, audio engineer extraordinaire, Ryan Lohr, and our producer, Kunal Verma. Not to mention our wonderful sponsors for the season, and most importantly, you for listening. Visit our website at Coffee and Banana for more information about each episode, including all the promo codes that you need. I'm your host, Kane Dabir. Enjoy some coffee and banana on your road to greatness.